Ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. This is the September informal hearing of the Tennessee Post Commission. Let me just kind of describe briefly how the process goes. The agency will be called first and will present to the commission why they're asking for decertification. Following the agency's presentation, the individual respondent will then have an opportunity to present. The commission may ask questions of the respondent. After the individual has presented, the agency will have the opportunity to provide a rebuttal. The respondent may then provide any sue rebuttal. The commission will then discuss and vote on the matter. Please note that this is an informal hearing. We typically don't have introduction of evidence and cross-examination at this phase of the process. The commission members reserve the right to ask questions, and if there's any review of items presented, they can acknowledge that. I'm not going to read the conflict of interest form that all post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve our own departments or some we know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a vote or conflict of interest and may have an appearance of impropriety, these applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes. We don't have our regular crew today, but we've got Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Wilbur, and Commissioner Green as our alternate. If you guys will serve as the primary voting members, and Commissioner Legan, if you'll serve as an alternate in the event that there's conflict, but feel free to be part of the discussion and ask questions. With that in mind, let's go ahead and read a roll call, make sure everybody's present before we start. Robert Fox. Robert Fox. Oh, that's been reset to October. Johnny Cyrus.
He's present, sir.
Thank you. Jonathan Kelly. Jonathan Kelly. Marvin Norfolk. Marvin Norfolk. Andre Crawford. Andre Crawford. Mr. O'Feely has been continued to the October docket. Thaddius Gordon. Thank you, sir. Sheldon Smith. Sheldon Smith. Justin Cobble. You guys are going to present for Mr. Cobble when we get to.
Your Honor, the department moves to withdraw its request for decertification in the matter of Justin Cobble.
Okay. Well, we'll address that when we get to that part of the agenda. Larry Pollard. It's my understanding that he has agreed to surrender his certification.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ashley Smith. Thank you. All right, we'll start with the matter of Johnny Cyrus and the Salina Police Department. If the representative of the Salina Police Department will please come to the lectern and identify yourself for the record, please.
Spencer Brewer, Assistant Chief, Salina Police Department. Thank you guys for having us here today. Congratulations to Director Bello.
Thank you.
So on October the 4th, 2024, Chief Terry Scott received a formal complaint from Steve Rich, which is the victim in this case. He stated that Johnny Cyrus stopped him. It escalated. He punched, tased, pepper sprayed him. Chief Terry Scott stated that he would review the body cam footage. So he come in that next morning, reviewed the body cam footage. Officer Cyrus had some prior interactions with Mr. Rich and knew that he didn't have a motorcycle license endorsement. He stated that he'd seen him driving a motorcycle on the public roadway, and he made contact with Steve. Steve at first wasn't producing his license to even show that he had a valid license. So Mr. Cyrus pulled his handcuffs out, stated that he was under arrest if he didn't provide his license. Mr. Rich then stated he wanted to call the chief, the police, and Officer Cyrus then pulled out his OC spray and stated, "You're fixing to get it." And then he sprayed Stephen in the face. As Stephen turned around, Officer Cyrus followed him and continued to spray him. Stephen then began to walk towards his building. He stated that he was asking for water. He then asked Officer Cyrus, or we observed Officer Cyrus make a striking motion towards Stephen's face. Stephen then continued to walk through the doorway, turning his back, and Officer Cyrus shot him in the back with a taser. Based on that, it was a violation of our use of force policy. We both observed it and feel like Stephen was passively resisting in the conflict. Officer Cyrus has since been terminated. I don't know if this has any pertinence to it or not, but we've been sued over the deal and it has been settled. But there wasn't any criminal charges brought against him. We did present it to the district attorney's office.
Commissioner Wilbur, do you have a policy for an officer to tell you when they have deployed their taser or pepper spray?
Yes, so do you mean making a report of that to his supervisor? Yes, and Officer Cyrus did do that.
Okay, so you knew that,
Yes,
but not the extent of,
not the extent until we reviewed body cam footage.
okay, thank you.
This Commissioner Green, did Officer Cyrus charge him with anything?
Yes, he did charge him. I believe he charged him with resisting. I want to think he might have charged him with driving without a license. I don't have those charges in front of me though, but he did take him to jail, yes.
And we don't know the outcome of the charges.
They were dismissed.
Okay.
Any other questions for the agency? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Attorney Jack Bird here with Mr. Cyrus. A couple of things about what Deputy Chief just spoke about for the interaction. Mr. Cyrus did know this gentleman did not have a license. He did observe him driving on the public roadways of Salina, stopped him at his shop. The gentleman proceeded to lie to him about having the license, and it progressed as it went through. We have the video for you. I don't know if it's been loaded to your iPads or if we have to watch it on the screen, but that is probably the best evidence of this case. What you're going to see is this gentleman is openly hostile. By his own admission later in it, he weighs over 300 pounds. He attempts to get away from Mr. Cyrus to go into a building that is a shop where Cyrus doesn't know if there's weapons in there, doesn't know what he's going in there to get. He has been sprayed. He tases him when he goes through the door. That is a use of force. While minds can differ on whether or not is it a use of force policy violation, ultimately it's up to the chief determining or not and decide if it's a use of force violation. What we're saying is this action does not come to the level of taking someone's certification from him. We're asking that you watch this video and we're ready to answer any questions about it.
If the commission is interested in seeing that video, I forwarded it to Ms. Cooper I don't know if we can put it on this screen or how we want to do that, but it's a Google Drive link.
I can play it on the TV. It'll be easier right now, or if let's take a short break, I can get the projector set up as whatever we do.
TV.
Okay, be all right. We'll come around to that side. So
That's right.
Do I need to come over there? Okay.
Bring the whole part. Can y'all see it?
Downloading.
All right, well, I was gonna pull up, so I'll hold off next.
Develop the remotes up there that you can adjust the volume on. When you turn it up.
I see it going up, yeah.
Well, I think it's on mute, isn't it?
Well, the first 30 seconds above.
First 30.
yeah,
Oh, is it?
doesn't
This might be really.
So, by yourself.
Should be audio at this point.
play. Okay. Let's give her, let's pause it real quick.
Okay.
I have the audio on my computer. Would that be helpful or make it more complicated?
It might be a little more complicated if it's not at the same.
I mean, I have the whole video on my computer if we wanted to just
We HD.
literally gather around.
Can you link that into the screen?
I don't think so.
It's the same. I don't know if that's gonna help. It's Joyce.
But what I was gonna ask is, some part of this been before us before? Has this been continued or something?
Yes.
I haven't, so it's not, I was having to think about it.
Yeah, it looks like it came before us right at the end of last year. I think it got continued a few times, depending on whether or not there was gonna be charges presented or not.
Just so the commission's aware, Mr. Cyrus was under a pending litigation suspension until the potential for charges went away. Now that's gone, so the commission would also be deciding today what to do with the pending litigation suspension.
Sweet.
You know how to do that.
Hey, Steve, good morning. Huh?
What are you there? I'm just picking up trash right here.
Where are you?
Yeah, that's all I'm doing, is picking up trash right there and running back to get the fuel injectors figured. Why do you not like me there? What's wrong?
I don't have a problem with you, sir. Did you get your motorcycle license?
Yes, I got everything squared up, but I want these over the pavement right now. So I already gotta show you nothing. I gotta do nothing.
Well, what is your deal? Need to see your license, Steve.
Why? I wasn't on the road. You can't say that I was on the road.
I seen
You thought,
on the road earlier.
you didn't see me on the road.
Do you have your license with you, yes or no?
You're not gonna do it like that today. You didn't see me on the road today because I didn't know. I just followed. You're ridiculous, sir, ridiculous. You see me, all I've done was circle that driveway right
Yeah,
there.
in Tennessee,
Right back.
34-217 King, Beard, Greg Davis' shop. Motorcycle license. You have your license.
Oh, you got no motorcycle license. I ain't had to bring you to go get them. That's why I have not been on the road. You didn't see me on that back on the road today.
You just passed me
No,
on East
you,
Lake
no, I
Avenue.
did not. You got the wrong Joe.
You're under arrest.
You can't arrest me for what?
You ain't got no license, you're not showing me.
I do got license. You can't arrest me.
Well, show it to me.
Terry.
Show it to me.
Why? I wouldn't
If
know
you've
the
got a
road.
license, well then you've not got no problems, but if you're not gonna give me your license, you're under arrest.
For what? What are you arresting
Driving
me?
without a license. I told you.
I was not on the road. I was not on the road.
Put you
No,
in back.
I'm calling Terry. You're not gonna do me like this.
You're under arrest. Turn
For
around.
what?
I'm charging you with resisting if you don't stop.
What are you taking me to jail for?
Driving without a license.
I've got a driver's license.
You don't have a motorcycle
You
license.
can't take me to jail for not having a motorcycle license when I went on the road. Sorry, you're not gonna do that. I ain't got no money. I've not got no.
Turn around. You're fixing to get it. You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest.
Oh my God, damn.
Can you start somebody up here? He's resisting.
Oh my God.
Under arrest.
I got everything on camera. I got everything on fucking camera. Every fucking thing on camera.
You're under arrest.
God damn it.
You're under arrest. You're down on the ground. Go down. You're on the ground. You're gonna get it again. Lay down. Put your hand behind your back. Now. Put your hands behind your back. Now.
I can't believe you're doing like this.
Put your hands behind your back. Keep them right there.
I gotta block my fucking face.
I'm gonna give it to you again. Put your hands behind your back. Keep them right there.
I tell you what,
Keep them right there.
I tell you what.
Keep them right there, Sage.
You see me on that fucking box, you lies up fucker. I was in the side of the fucking road. I got to wipe my fucking eyes, Sonny. I can't believe you, Brad. Oh my God, damn, son. Ooh, son. Ooh, son, shut up. Shut up, you're ridiculous.
I'm straight.
For what, Johnny?
Can I give you an ambulance up here?
I can't breathe, guys. Please let me get up so I can breathe. Calm down a second. I'll get you on the phone. Hold on, who are you? Say.
As you can see, no use of force is pretty. Anytime somebody has to use of force, it looks bad. But Mr. Cyrus was calm, controlled. He attempted to take the individual into custody. He resisted. There is not an officer that would have allowed him to go into that building after that interaction. He did what he had to. He was totally honest with his department. He provided the information to them, was open with everything that happened. The department determined he violated their policy. As I said, minds could differ on that possibly, doing a use of force analysis of it. But he did nothing for integrity wise, nothing that would cause him a future danger. He has learned a lesson from this, and we're asking for the commission to not take any action on it. He lost his job, and he will have to explain this to any department he goes to. And if I may just add one more thing concerning that lawsuit, he was not sued. The department was sued, and they settled out of court to avoid the litigation.
Commissioner Wilbur, well, you sue the ones with deep pockets, so it's an old adage.
Yes, ma'am, and I think we've come to the point where we call it nuisance money at this point.
Commissioner Wright. If y'all want to start, I'll start.
Go ahead.
For the very first thing I noticed was that he dropped something out of his hand, which kind of made me think he was already getting in that defensive posture of clearing his hand for wine. And then was very defensive. I don't necessarily know that it should have jumped that fast to that use of force. Maybe, I don't know how far back it was, all that stuff, I don't know, but as it did escalate, the officer, in my opinion, had to do what he had to do. So I'm gonna make a motion for no action unless y'all have discussion.
Well, I'm gonna concur, but 100%, I would prefer that an individual puts their hands on somebody before we resort to something else. But that goes back to policy and how you interact with that. I'm old school and it would have ended a lot worse in my early career. So I concur with no action.
The chief is standing up. I just want to give him the chance one more time to do the final word. Do you have anything else to say?
Yes. And like, I didn't get to touch on this earlier. We're a very small agency. We have 6 sworn officers. And whenever situations like this happen, we're all very close and it's hard. And I mean, I promise you, I have nothing against Johnny Cyrus. I've worked well with him for years, or not years, a year. Chief Terry Scott, he helped him out whenever he was sick. We just knew that this was a decision that you guys should look at. We didn't feel comfortable deeming this as being left alone. We wanted to do what we felt was right. I mean, he does have a family. He's got kids to feed. So, I mean, I understand. But other than that, just thank you guys for your time and thank you guys for reviewing it.
Counselor, any other comments? No, sir.
So I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries for no action. Thank you. We'll move ahead to, the Thaddius Gordon. Representative of Shelby County will come to the lectern and just introduce yourself for the record, please.
Okay, good afternoon. I am Chief Inspector Carla Allen, the Director of the Training Division for the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. We're asking for this decertification against Thaddius Gordon based on the investigation that we had. On August the 5th of 2024, we launched this investigation when his ex-wife came forward, wanted to file a complaint against Thaddius Gordon for harassment and stalking. She gave us a formal statement stating that she had reasons to believe that he was using his departmental issued equipment to track her whereabouts, and her friend. At the time he was divorced. When we opened up this investigation, we spoke with her. She gave this formal complaint. We also started investigating this, and we did determine that the information that she had provided was accurate. We looked at his flock account, and every move she shared with us that he had questioned her about was actually where she was at the time. During this investigation, we discovered that he tracked her from between July the 11th and August 4th. He made 168 inquiries about her and her vehicle. She also had reasons to believe that he was using a burner phone to send her all these different text messages. The text messages and the information that he shared with her was only information that the two of them knew about. So it wasn't like someone else was actually sending this information. That's where the harassment came from. At some point, he was arrested on 8/5 of 2024. And we presented his case to the grand jury. He was indicted, and currently it was held to state. He is within the court system now. He violated Shelby County Sheriff's Office policy, the standard procedure of license plate reader when he utilized that equipment to track his ex-wife. His personal conduct came into play when he was arrested. He appeared on the local news when they posted his mugshot for being indicted and arrested on that domestic violence. Stalking and harassment. And that was for the adherence to law as well. During this investigation, and when they was trying to serve him with the disciplinary, we had him before the boards to present him and his union representative with his charges. The determination had been made, the case was completed, and at some point, he stopped communicating with us. He came in when they was trying to schedule him for his disciplinary actions. He presented us with a doctor's statement. At some point, he was put under the care of a physician. The physician gave us the statement. At some point, he came back with additional statement. And through our investigation, we found out that the secondary doctor statement that he presented to our agency was one that was not given by that physician. So at that point, we charged him with truthfulness. So with those cases being presented today, we would like to ask you all to grant this decertification for the charges of truthfulness, adherence to law, harassment, unbecoming conduct of an officer, violation of the policy and procedure, the license plate reader, and his personal conduct.
Thank you, Chief Inspector. Commissioners?
Commissioner Woodward, so these charges are still pending. He has not resolved the litigation.
Correct. He is currently before the criminal courts of Shelby County.
Yes, if he's interested in a pending litigation suspension, that would be an indefinite suspension until the litigation closed, and then we could have the informal at that time. I can draft that paperwork and think that was the commission's will. I'm not sure if he's present.
He's here. I believe he has an attorney.
Yeah, so that's something we could discuss.
I'd like to speak to his counsel. If you would just identify yourself for the record, Counselor.
Absolutely. Chauncey Fuller of the Nashville Bar, and I represent Mr. Gordon, sharing the same concerns as Madam Commissioner. Those charges are pending. I'm not the underlining criminal lawyer for Mr. Gordon, but it's my understanding that court date is scheduled for October 23rd this year. And yeah, we'll be requesting a continuance to make sure that those matters are resolved one way or the other. It's my understanding that something should happen one way or the other on next month.
Okay, so the commission could continue it to another date, or we could offer that pending litigation suspension. That's just up to.
This is Commissioner Green. Would he be willing to do a temporary suspension should the case be postponed? You're saying it's scheduled for October 23rd, but it could be postponed. We do a temporary suspension, then that would be in existence until the litigation is complete.
I spoke to Mr. Gordon. It would be his preference just to continue this matter altogether in communication with his criminal lawyer, in discussion with the assistant attorney of Shelby County, understanding that matter is going to be officially resolved, and that he can come before you guys and give a full accounting of himself and full defense. And so his preference is just to continue this matter until after those criminal charges have been formally.
My concern would be he could be working until that takes place, and that concerns me. So my potential would be that he go ahead and get a temporary suspension until that time the litigation is completed.
No, I definitely understand Commissioner Green, those concerns. However,
It is essentially a month away, and if we could just hold this off until he can come before you guys and give a full accounting of himself, that would be the preference. Of
Or we
course,
could have an
it's up to
informal
you.
today and we might be certified and then they may not have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
So
That is a
it would be a
concern.
discussion with your client to see where we go.
Let me speak with him and I'll come back before you guys.
Yeah, it's a matter of scheduling a calendar to address that issue. If his court date is in October, that would be following the October meeting date, which would put us to November. November, we're gonna be in Gatlinburg. So you would be forcing him to drive from Shelby County to Gatlinburg, which would put this matter probably into December. So it does push it out quite a few more months. So I understand your concern as far as wanting to have the agreed order in place.
And I don't know if this would address any of your concerns. He is currently not employed with the Sheriff's Office of Shelby County. I wouldn't anticipate that he would be gaining employment with any other law enforcement agency between now and December. But I understand your concerns, but in the short interim, I don't see that as a likely possibility he would be employed in any type of peace officer capacity. But I'll speak with him and get back to you guys.
We'll go ahead and just move that matter to the end of the agenda if that's okay with the commission. Moving to the next matter. Be the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security in the matter of Justin Cobble. I believe their legal wanted to address the commission concerning this matter.
Yes, Director Bello. Erin Begley. I am one of the attorneys with the Department of Safety and Homeland Security. Director Bello, members of the commission, the department is here asking to withdraw its request for decertification in the matter of Justin Cobble. Mr. Cobble's attorney is present as well. So I just wanted to make that request. Thank you.
Any questions for the agency from the commissioners?
Commissioner Ryan, if I could have just a second, kind of redo this real quick.
Ms. Bailey, I just have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us why you are wanting to withdraw this decertification?
Pursuant to the terms of the parties' agreement, the department will not be moving forward or is requesting to withdraw the request for decertification.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan, Department of Safety comes to us to decertify people that fail the FTO program. But yet, want to drop this. That's just my out loud thought.
I guess my question is back to you, ma'am. And I understand the policy of the Highway Department of Safety, but as Commissioner Wright said, y'all has to be certified people for not crawling under tractor trailer trucks in full uniform. And this is pretty egregious. Must have been one heck of a plea.
Well, pursuant to the terms of the parties' agreement, we are asking to withdraw the request for decertification.
I'll move to agree with that request. It can die for lack of a second.
Well, if it may help, stir the pots more, the commission in the past has taken up these kinds of matters on their own. You'll recall that at a previous, post-commission meeting, we had an agency that wanted to rescind. The matters were read, for the record, and the post-commission, decided to take that up on its own accord and deny the request. The conundrum it places the commission in is you're then moving forward, and calling a witness that may or may not be able to or want to participate and cooperate in the decertification of this individual. So again, that may help or not help.
And that would be my concern.
Leaning you right now.
Commissioner Wilbur, I guess my question is, Mr. Cobble, if he's here, is he able to say anything on his behalf?
He is not present, but his attorney is present.
I would just like to hear from his attorney very briefly. Thank you.
Mr. Wilbur, Gordon Byers, Putnam County Bar. What can I answer?
I guess I really want to know, kind of lean behind the curtain, but I guess I can't. So what can you tell us that Mr. Cobble has learned from this? Does he want to stay in law enforcement, obviously?
Mr. Cobble is a younger officer who comes from a long line of law enforcement professionals. I do expect that he will be applying to additional agencies. In that application, he will be disclosing any prior discipline through his personnel file with the Department of Safety. His history with the Department of Safety was excellent.
Let me just add something else. Do you know if this is Giglio material that must be given to every defense counsel who will be working against him?
Madam Commissioner, I would suggest to the commission it is not Giglio material because it does not relate to an issue of credibility, dishonesty, exercise of his official function. I primarily practice criminal defense work. I cannot think of a way I could use this against Mr. Cobble in a criminal context unless it was in an action involving this very specific thing. Otherwise, it does not rise to the level of what I would suggest Giglio material is. And candidly, I've had some communication with district attorneys general that work in both his district and other districts, and I would suggest they share a similar viewpoint. I don't want to speak for them, but in this informal setting, I would suggest that they would take an identical position.
Bailey?
And typically, if it is something that we believe we would have to disclose as Giglio material, we will cite that in our attachment A. Those are the policies and procedures and state law that we believe that the officer has violated based upon the facts and circumstances. We did not include Giglio in attachment A in the disciplinary letter.
Thank you. Victor, I'm gonna make a second the motion.
So we have a motion and a second to accept. Any other further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
We have 2 ayes and 1 no. The motion carries. We want to go back to the matter of Mr. Thaddius Gordon real quick. Looks like his counsel is ready.
For the commission, I know Commissioner Wilbur asked what the cadence looks like. There is a flag for pending civil criminal process, that there's a pending decert matter and that he's on administrative leave from Shelby County.
I've spoken with Mr. Gordon, if the commissioners are not willing for continuance, he would accept the temporary suspension until those underlying criminal matters have been resolved.
You need a motion or just?
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we accept the agreed temporary.
I'll second that motion as long as it's signed. If not, we'll go back.
So would it be would the commission be comfortable with continuing this to November, but if we get the signed paperwork, he doesn't have to appear in November?
We should have it before by October, wouldn't we? Even though.
Oh, yeah, we can continue it to October if we don't have the signed paperwork here. Does that work for you guys? Investigator Creed will get you my contact information and I'll get you that order. This probably first of next week.
That's it. Thank you.
Oh,
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Right, moving along. The Tennessee Department of Safety in the matter of Ashley Smith. Good afternoon. You can identify yourself for the record, please.
Lieutenant Colonel Spicer, Tennessee Highway Patrol.
Sergeant Richard T. Chow, the Office of Professional Accountability. Thank you.
In the matter of Miss Smith, she was terminated for cause and completed the service on February 27th of this year. Her termination was upheld in the step 1 and step 2 appeals and recently upheld at the step 3 level in front of an impartial review board. This incident also resulted in the termination of another member, Ronald Davis, who was here in front of you all, I think, 2 months ago. And investigator T. Chow will fill you on the details of this incident.
Okay, on September 14th, 2024, Ashley Smith was working in uniform and in a marked patrol vehicle when she was called by her nephew's wife and told her nephew had been pulled over. Ms. Smith used her MDT, mobile data transmission, to find the location of the stop and identify which trooper had pulled her nephew over. Ms. Smith then called trooper to determine his exact location. When she arrived on scene, she did not notify dispatch of her arrival. She told the trooper that he had stopped her nephew and that she could not handle much more that night. So if her nephew was not drunk, she could take him home. After a few minutes, Miss Smith's nephew approached her vehicle, so she told him he was going with her and took his keys. Miss Smith left the scene with her nephew seated in the rear of a patrol car to take him home without informing any trooper or sergeant present. Miss Smith did not check out with dispatch by radio or by the computer when she arrived at the traffic stop. She also failed to use her dash camera or body camera during this stop or while transporting her nephew. A sergeant that was on scene realized that SFSTs were not thoroughly completed on Miss Smith's nephew, then contacted Miss Smith over the radio and advised her to return to the scene with her nephew. Miss Smith returned to the scene. SFSTs were administered. Miss Smith's nephew was arrested for DUI that night and taken to jail. A sergeant on scene told her to go to post. Miss Smith told him no. The sergeant again told her to go to post. Miss Smith admitted during the interview that she disobeyed a direct order from a sergeant by saying no when she was told to go to the post. After she left the scene, she went home early with permission from a supervisor that night.
Any questions from the commission?
Commissioner Ryan, do we know when she started with the patrol? I can ask her if that makes it easier.
Commissioner Wilbur, just to kind of give you, she's got formal discipline going back to January 20th, 2024.
That's what I was saying was and this happened in September 24 and she was hired on like December 23. That's what
I think it was November of 22.
November 22. Thanks.
Thank you.
questions for the agency? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time. Counselor, if you would, just identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, sir. Daniel Newburn, with Rutherford County Bar. I'm here representing Ms. Smith. We'll go over just a few things that kind of coincide with what the investigator just said. There was some question during this appeal on whether or not she violated any policy by muting her body worn camera. And it turns out that THP actually has a policy in place to mute your body worn camera if you're speaking to another trooper. So during that hearing, they actually determined that she didn't do anything wrong. There were two other troopers that were there and two other sergeants that were also there. Both did not activate the body worn cameras. They didn't activate the in-car camera, and also they didn't check out with dispatch. But yet those two sergeants and the other officers were not disciplined for that. Trooper Davis testified that Ashley Smith did not directly nor indirectly influence the traffic stop or DUI investigation. So he wasn't for you all before, he took total blame for that. Said that she never asked for any favors. She sat in her car while they were there. The state also conceded that she did not ask for any favors. That was during the appeal as well. When she went to the stop, she stayed in her car. Trooper Harrison told Mr. Durham he was free to go and have a nice night, only after getting the two clues on the HDN. Now, when I was watching the video of this HDN, I think we've all done that before. I was a police officer for a couple of decades. So I know that you need to perform the entire HDN if you really want to pick up 6 clues. Before they knew anything about Ms. Smith, the test consisted of center line and going not even all the way to the periphery to the right. That was it. That was the entire HDN test. And then they determined that based upon just that limited information that the driver was not intoxicated. The DA actually came to her appeal and testified that Ms. Smith had no negative influence on this case whatsoever. This was an incident of a sergeant having her bring back her nephew and charging him with DUI, despite the fact that they didn't have any indicators on the HDN other than 2. Also had nothing on the walk and turn, had nothing of any other source for the sobriety test. So the fact that the trooper told Mr. Durham to leave was the reason why they couldn't pursue this case any further. Said you're free to go, and it was free to go because there was no clues. The THP supervisor asked Ms. Smith to find arrangements for her nephew. Again, so they're obviously aware that she's there. They're asking her to make arrangements for him. And then they come forth and say that she shouldn't have been there. My question to you is, if you have 2 sergeants at the scene, why didn't one of them tell this very young officer to leave? She would have done so, but they never did tell her. In fact, they asked her to make arrangements for her nephew. Ms. Smith drove to Mr. Durham 2 minutes. It was 2 minutes from the stop to his house. And they're wanting to say that she should have checked out on the radio. And she clearly just left the scene and drove 2 minutes to the house. And when asked to bring him back, she drove 2 minutes back, brought him right back to the scene. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It was actually 2 minutes total. So 1 minute there, 1 minute back. That's the entire time of this film.
Commissioner Wilbur, did she disobey a direct order?
Actually, I think I'm gonna let her answer that.
According to general order, it was approved, and it was thrown out in the step 3 appeal because the sergeant didn't follow the general order for the highway patrol. So, I did tell him no. However, he didn't go through the following steps that would tell me that I was insubordinate. That was thrown out in step 3 because it wasn't founded as actually being insubordinate.
But he did tell you no.
I did. I admitted that he did tell me no. I've been honest in this entire case, even when it was detrimental to me. I didn't lie at any point in time. I'd be willing to go take a polygraph test at any day of the week, 365 days of the year, if that was what it took.
Did you, and your attorney can answer for you if you want, did you tell people that you were going there to check on your nephew's minor child?
Yeah, so that was the original call that came in from sister-in-law? Nephew's wife, who called her to say, hey, I think he has our child with him. Can you go to the scene and see if that minor is in the car? I'm a little worried because he just got pulled over. So that was the initial reason, but obviously when they were there and she got in the patrol car, there's no mention of the minor whatsoever. So she just drove him to his house, and that's where the minor was. So again, 1 minute away. I do believe that Trooper Smith has been very forthcoming with what she did. And you're right, she is a young officer. She was 2 years on and got put in this situation. I think that with me having 2 years on, I probably would have done something very similar. And she learned from it. So yes, she's lost her job. She's no longer a trooper. She actually has 2 departments right now they're looking to hire. Both of them are well aware of what happened. We got a letter from the mayor of Sotillo and also from Henderson County Sheriff's Department. She's still being called to testify in court. So obviously there's no concerns with any kind of Brady material or anything of that nature. So again, we're just asking, yes, this did lead to her and a couple of other officers actually being terminated. But I don't think that that's going to be enough to justify never having her perform the job again. Just let her learn from this experience, go somewhere else, and take that experience with her.
Don't want to wait. You go ahead. Commissioner Wright. So this nephew that called her, is that a different nephew than the one that was being stopped? Is there multiple nephews in this?
My oldest nephew, that was the one that was being stopped, I had no contact with him for over 8.5 years. I just recently, his son is who I was looking for, so my great nephew, he had been with me earlier that day. We had just recently reconnected with his children, and I was on speaking terms with the wife. I was not on speaking terms with my nephew at all.
So yes, it's the nephew's wife is the one that actually called and asked her to go to the scene.
Okay, Ms. Smith, was you under the impression that he was stopped for DUI and that was the whole reason for the stop?
I had no idea who had him. I didn't know.
Not who, but for why?
No, she did not tell me. She just said that he had been stopped and she didn't know where Rhett was, which is the minor child. I asked her who had him stopped. Was it the city, the county, or us? And she told me she had no idea. And she just kind of led me in the direction of where he was at. And at first, I didn't see any blue lights. There were no blue lights on scene. I'd actually made a U-turn and was going back to another location. I had no idea at all why he was stopped.
Let's talk about the car by so fast, came back to memory. But when you pulled up to the scene and the troopers had your nephew, I don't know what stage they were in at the time, just talking, performing field sobriety, I don't know. Were you under the impression that he was stopped for DUI or thinking that he was stopped for DUI?
I had no idea why he was stopped. I had no idea what was going
You didn't
on.
ask when you got there, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, they never got out of the car. Did he just come walking over and get in your patrol car?
When he was released, he walked by my patrol car and I asked him if he was done. I immediately went to the truck to check to see if there was anybody in there. He told me that he had been released.
Commissioner Liggins, when they told you to make arrangements for your nephew, did Sergeant or another trooper on scene, did they tell you that you could leave with your nephew or just make arrangements for him?
There was arrangements for his belongings after they arrested him, after he'd already been let go.
Okay,
They wanted me to find somebody to come get his vehicle and his wallet, his cell phone. He had some necklaces that they put in a Ziploc bag.
I guess another question that I have is if you was working and on duty at that time, he had been stopped, he'd been through field sobriety. I'm sure the highway patrol has a policy in place that if somebody is in your car, you are to put that out on the radio and to notify dispatch, that we at Greenfield 1014 is an escort. And I believe that you failed to do that. Is that correct? Or did you do
I
that?
did, and in the captain's testimony in my step 3, those were minor infractions.
Okay.
I will add that when they arrested my nephew, that trooper never turned on his rear camera either, but he was still allowed to work with no punishment.
Mr. Lee, that's kind of my thought as well was this nephew here, you said you had not had contact with him and
There had been one text message when his grandfather died on his dad's side, and I'd sent my condolences. And I hadn't talked to him since about Rhett's first birthday, and he was 9, about to turn 10 at the time of this.
I mean, there's some things here that I think you definitely made a lack of judgment in. It's been one of them. I mean, if this is a nephew that you didn't have any contact with, didn't really know what he may have just done or committed or anything else, and just been put in your patrol car without searching, because he's your nephew probably.
Absolutely.
Front seat, rear seat,
He was in the rear.
in the rear seat.
Mhm.
When they asked you to make the arrangements, because I guess what's kind of getting confused is you was on the scene first, you left, and then you came back. So some of the stuff that we hear is kind of hard to figure out if it was the first time or the second time. But the second time is when they asked you about arranging for his stuff.
Yes,
Right.
if I could call someone to get his belongings.
That was after you came back, not.
That's correct.
Okay. What kind of conversation was there when you first got to the scene? I kind of want to know a little bit more about how that.
Trooper Davis came up to my window. I never got out of my vehicle. I never approached anybody. I didn't talk to the arresting officer. He came up and just said, "What's going on?" And I just said, "That's my nephew." I told him that I couldn't handle much more tonight. I'd already been cussed by my supervisor. I'd already watched the DUI let go at that point by a trooper, a sergeant. And then this happens when my nephew's wife calls me screaming that she doesn't know where her child was. That was what had happened that night. He left my vehicle. I never asked for a favor. I never asked him not to take him to jail. I got off the bus at the Hardin County Jail for 11 years. That's where my mother works. So people going to jail is not anything to me. My brother's a convicted felon. My sister was arrested by Trooper Davis for DUI in March of 2023. My brother goes to jail for driving unsuspended. It doesn't matter to me if my family goes to jail. I've written my own family speeding tickets, so it doesn't bother me.
I think what she's trying to say is she came on in 22. She's had family members since then that were arrested, one for DUI. She was a lot closer to her sister. She did not go to the scene. She did not do anything. This night was pouring down rain. She has a frantic wife calling and saying, "I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my child is." And she left to go to the scene and check. And then, yes, do I think that hindsight being 2020, there have been other things that were done? Absolutely. Yeah, I did that for 23 years, and there's a lot of things I should have done probably a little bit better. But do I think that rises to the level of never having this job again? I don't think so.
This is Commissioner Green, and this is for you, ma'am. When they were placing your nephew in custody and fixed to take you to jail, did you interfere at all?
No, I never got out of my vehicle.
That's all I need to know.
Any other questions for the counselor? Thank you, sir. The Would the agency like to provide any rebuttal?
So I want to address a few things. Erin Begley, for the record, Tennessee Highway Patrol or Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security. One, the sergeant on scene absolutely did ask her to leave. They told her to go to the post twice. On one occasion, she looked at her sergeant and she said no. So when there was a statement today that she would have left if someone would have asked her to leave, they absolutely 100% told her to leave on 2 occasions, and she did not leave. So when she said that they asked her to make arrangements for her nephew, no one asked her to make arrangements for her nephew. What ended up happening was, after they had asked her to leave the scene twice, and she didn't do so, they asked if she knew of someone that could come and get his stuff, his belongings, his jewelry, his wallet, his phone, his vehicle. She said, oh, I can do it. And they said, absolutely not. You don't need to have anything to do with this. And then she had mentioned that another family member could come and get his stuff. Concerning failing to turn on her in-car camera, her body camera, things to that effect. When we were moving through this disciplinary process, part of her response was she didn't take her nephew away from the scene of the DUI traffic stop in order to evade his or help him evade his arrest. She was merely providing a motorist assist. Well, when you provide a motorist assist, you put the individual in your vehicle, you let dispatch know that you are performing a motorist assist, you turn on your body camera, you turn on your dash camera, and if you have a rear camera in your car, you turn that camera on as well. And then you let dispatch know your starting mileage, and you let dispatch know your ending mileage. Absolutely none of this happened. So we do not believe for a moment that this was a motorist assist. Now, Ms. Smith mentioned that, okay, yeah, I didn't turn my camera on, but this was a minor infraction. Members of the board, we would present to you that this is a minor infraction that covered up a much larger issue. Ms. Smith presented to you today that she hasn't had any contact with her nephew. We will tell you today that it was shown during the Step 3 appeal that her nephew called her at the scene of the DUI traffic stop, and she answered that phone call. So they had contact during the middle of that phone call. Now, when she said she had no idea that he was there or that he was pulled over for a DUI, we had testimony during the Step 3 appeal that she called her sergeant and told her sergeant, they've got my nephew and they're doing SFSTs. She absolutely knew before she made it to the scene of the DUI traffic stop that her nephew was pulled over and he was undergoing standardized field sobriety tests. And members of the board, the way she was able to figure out how to get to the traffic stop was she used her CAD. She used the CAD to find out who was on a traffic stop. She called the officer and said, where are you? The officer then led her to the scene of the traffic stop where she pulled in. They had a conversation on a muted body cam. You can see her holding her hands up to her head. And that testimony was, she said, that's my nephew. I can't take it anymore. And if he's not that bad, I'll take him home so that you don't have to worry about it. So while the district attorney did testify at our hearing that the charges against the nephew were dropped, the reason those charges were dropped was because there was a break in that chain of evidence. Yes, THP, one of our training officers, allowed Ms. Smith's nephew to leave the scene. We couldn't bring him back at that point. We did, but there's no way that would survive a motion to dismiss. And then finally, the last thing I would point out, members of the board, Ms. Smith did get a phone call that night. She testified to that. We saw it in her phone records. She was at the post when that phone call came in. She was standing there with 2 sergeants. And when that phone call came in, they asked her, what's wrong? What happened? Because they saw her in a panic. She didn't tell them, oh my goodness, I'm afraid something's happened to my nephew. She got in her car. Her sergeant called her because he was worried about her. What's happened? When she had an opportunity to tell him what's happened, she told him, they've got my nephew and they're doing standardized field sobriety tests. She didn't tell him, my young 9-year-old nephew, we don't know where he is. I need to go find out what's happened. When she made it to the scene of the DUI traffic stop and talked to the officers, she never mentioned a young child. We don't believe the story about the young nephew. We believe she was there for her nephew that was undergoing the standardized field sobriety tests. And the board at the step 3 appeal didn't believe it either.
Could I add one more thing to that as well? She said she was going to check on the welfare of a child because it was in a traffic stop. We've all seen traffic stops. It could have been pulled over for a light law, could have been pulled over for speeding. That doesn't constitute a trooper going to the scene of every traffic stop to check on a child. There's no worry about that child unless something else is more serious. We're not going to run to every traffic stop to check on a family member. We don't know what that traffic stop is unless you know. Had no reason to go to the scene to check on a child. When she was on the phone with Mr. Davis, she could have asked him clearly right then, is the child in the car? That was never asked. That would have solved all of it. She would have never had to go to the scene. So there was multiple avenues she could have went down besides going to the scene to check on the welfare of the child. Thank you.
Any questions for the agency? Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor?
Thank you very much. I'll quickly address some of those issues. So about telling her to leave and go to the post, I understand that that was not what happened while she was there during the initial stop. As after she came back with this person, they did ask her to secure his belongings or find somebody that could come and get the truck. That's undisputed. It was in testimony. Officer Davis, or Trooper Davis, sorry, said that as well. He was in here last month and actually said the same kind of thing. I watched it. She had no influence on this stop whatsoever. She didn't ask for any. The state actually said that they conceded to the fact that she never asked for a favor. She never got out of her car. She didn't do anything until he was released. And then she did go over and, check the truck. That's why she knew that there was no kid in the car. So I completely disagree with those things. As far as her knowing that this was a DUI stop, she did find it was a DUI stop when she got there and saw that there was, an obvious field sobriety pass being given because they were under a little bit of a carport that came off of a building, and it's very obvious to all of us that when you get over and you see that FSTs are being started.
Can I just
Also,
stop you right there? So she did not say when she was where she was at the beginning, she did not say they've got my nephew and they're doing SFSTs.
no, that is nowhere in any testimony that I remember hearing, and I was there as well during all.
I think Ms. Begley just disagreed with you and
She
said
does.
that was what was in the level 3 appeal as the findings that she said that.
No, ma'am, she did not say that.
That was the testimony of the sergeant.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Wright, I think I'm just gonna do it. Let's make a motion to carry it to full commission so we can get more evidence.
Commissioner Green, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to refer this to a full formal hearing for the post commission. Any further discussion, questions at this time?
The only thing I would say to the Department of Safety is, if there is body cam video of that incident when it comes to the formal, we'd certainly like to see it.
Is Commissioner Wright as well, and part of my decision on carrying this to the formal is because there could be some truthfulness issues and even truthfulness right here in front of us today. So, anything that could prove or disprove that within this,
Can I just add one more thing? It was said in there just a second ago, that yes, the sergeant, that was just up here, each out, did say that she had said some things about, when she was gonna get there, what it was, all that kind of stuff. He also put in his report that the DA told him that, this did not, that her actions were a direct reflection of why she had to drop the investigation. That same DA comes to the step 3 appeal and testifies he never said that to Sergeant Teachout. So I do believe there's some credibility issues there as well.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Counselor, our legal staff will reach out to you and we'll get that scheduled at a later date and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
If you'll get Mr. Creed your contact information, investigator Creed, that way.
All right, we'll go back and call the names of the individuals that were missing at the beginning of roll call. Jonathan Kelly, Hamilton County, Jonathan Kelly. Marvin Norfolk.
I'm the sheriff from Hamilton County. Marvin is not here.
Okay, thank you, sir. Andre Crawford. Andre Crawford. Sheldon Smith. Sheldon Smith. They are not here. We do have proper service on those individuals.
Commissioner Ryan, make a motion for default decertification of the names that were there.
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, hearing that, motion passes. And if we'll just address Mr. Pollard, we would just need a motion to accept his signed agreed order. And we can just read that into the minutes tomorrow as part of the informal hearing report.
Motion to accept, Commissioner Green.
Commissioner Wilbur, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Counselor, did you want to address the commission or? I saw you stand up and I thought maybe you had something for
No,
me.
I was just making sure Mr. Pollard was taken care of before I walked out the door.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that'll be our meeting for today, and with that, we'll conclude it. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.